Here's how to prep for the upcoming tax deed auctions that are coming up. So we got a lot of auctions coming up here in a couple days. So this weekend, what I want to do is walk you guys through just some basic setup so that you can have a crack at some of these sales here coming up this week. So it's a big day or big week coming up, right? The first Tuesday of the month. We got Texas and Georgia, and they're going to be coming on full steam. So regardless of whether or not you live in those states, if you want to learn how to buy properties up to 90% below market value through the wonderful world of tax deed investing, let's participate, right? It's super important. It doesn't matter if you live in these states because these days, a lot of the auctions are online, which means you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And I like lately, I've been referring to this business like, okay, you're probably a fan of certain sports, right? And probably a fan of teams and cities, maybe that you've never been to once, never plan on going to, but you know the stats. So it's important in this business to think of everywhere you go or are planning to go like a sports team. All right. Maybe you're watching this right now, you're in California, and you've never thought about going to Texas, but imagine it like your sports team. We got the Super Bowl coming up, and I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with many of the players and all their stats. So take even 20% of that energy and put it into learning about the upcoming tax sales. And eventually, before you know it, you will be making money with tax liens and deeds. All it takes is a little bit of time every single week, building that momentum. And then next thing you know, boom, deals are hitting, maybe one a week, one a month, one a quarter. But it can be enough for you to be able to use this business to maybe quit your job or, take that vacation or whatever it is. This is an amazing tool. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dustin Hahn, and this channel is here dedicated to help you get into real estate through the wonderful world of tax liens and deeds. Okay. So for anybody that's just tuning in, one of the very key things that's important to have that we use as our tools here is the tax lien and deed directory that gives you a list of all of the tax deed counties so that you can do your research here. And this is kind of like your sports book to a degree. It's the first step in getting ready. So, say, here we go, Texas, boom, I opened it right to it. There's like 256 counties, redemption interest rate 25 to 50%, 6 months to 2-year redemption, 254 counties actually. So this is what you need to be following along with. And there is a link below in the description to grab this along with the training book, The ABCs of Tax Lien and Deed Investing, which has the questionnaire for you guys to be filling out and doing this business. So all of that is free in the more click button below. And then with these sales, once again, if you want some one-on-one mentoring for help for these sales, you can go there as well. But let's dive in. So it's important right now because we have these sales coming up and I want you guys to be ready. So if you're watching this, I want to give you that nudge to go and participate in these sales, even if you're not going to buy anything, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to come back, and what I want to share with you is just some basics to get ready. Tomorrow we'll go live and we'll start looking at some of these properties for coming up at these sales. But what I want to do here today is just go through a list of things that you should be familiar with when gearing up as a beginner for these sales, right? So we need to learn how to research the properties. That's going to be very important. You need to figure out which one of these states or which one of these counties are you interested in attending, right? And you need to start to build out your organization system. Most people are not organized. And the next step is you want to get the auction rules. All right. So the auction rules are generally pretty simple. They're on the county website. The next thing you want to, if you're going to be bidding, arrange your finances. You need to find out, does the county accept? What type of payments? Do you have to pay in full? Do you have an hour or two to pay? Do you have 30 days? Some of these places allow you to just put 10% down, which is awesome, and give you 30 days to be able to go and pay. I've done this many times where maybe I went to a sale back in the day. I had just a few $1,000, and this allowed me as a young investor to be able to leverage that money and bid on something and put down 10%. And then that way I could take the deed or the paperwork and say, listen, I have this really great property. It's market value at 50,000. I could put 5 down already. Do you want to lend the other 5? And then it could be worth, 100, 150. So you need to learn the rules and see what form of payment is accepted. Some of these places are only cash. All right. So that's what we're going to be doing, arranging the finances. Now, with the sale coming up in the next couple days, it's important, if you live in Texas or Georgia, where these sales are going to be happening, that's great. You can hit the ground running this weekend. You can go and start driving some properties and looking at them. And once again, it doesn't matter if you're going to buy the property or not. What matters to me the most is that you're going to take some action and get busy studying properties, just like the sports team, just like the stats on our favorite sports players. We want to study these auctions. Okay. So if you are going to be hitting the road, the other thing is make sure you have the proper documentation to register for the auction. What do they need? Are you going to register in the name of your LLC? Make sure you have your license or your passport. You need to find out what they need and make sure you don't have any outstanding taxes in that county as well. Okay. Another thing to remember is if you win the bid, you always want to find out what to do after you win the bid, because it's important, because sometimes you have to actually go and register the deed at a different spot. And if you don't do that, the deed won't transfer over to your name. All right. Now, in a second, we're going to dive into some of the things you need to hit the road and be cruising out there for these properties in your car, your truck, or your scooter. Let's see. We got a couple questions here. I get price notices. How do I sell them? Price notices. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Are tax liens considered earned or passive income? I would consider it earned income because, passive could be something that pays for a long time. So technically, maybe if you buy one every single year for the next 10 years, it is a form of passive income. But for the most part, it will be an earned income in that regard. So once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like this stuff, do me a favor, hit thumbs up on the video. Ask me a question below. It's how I get a lot of the ideas for future comments and things like that. And once again, the channel here is dedicated to helping you get involved with tax liens and tax deeds. So let's go back now. Time's come. You're going to hit the road this weekend. We're going to have a good time. So when we go to Texas, and we've been there many times, we've purchased, probably 50, 60 properties in Harris County. And a lot of the times we'll be flying in. So it is an auction that was worth it to fly to, because in 2 days, we would look at like 50 properties a day. So basically, we'd leave on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we look at properties and then go to the county office. And then Tuesday is the auction. All right. So depending on where you are, there's still time. It's exciting. Always this week is going to be, or the week after the sale is really fun, because we start to hear what people got, what sort of deals, what the competition was, all that sort of stuff. And, if you are gearing up for one of these auctions and you want some help, you can always get some one-on-one mentoring from us. If it's a fit, can click the more button below, the learn more button, and we can always help you out with that from there. And like I mentioned, I give away all this stuff for free. The ABCs of tax lien and deed investing, 100 tax lien and deed facts, get a deal in 30 days. All that's below. And like I used to sell it, all this stuff, but now what I do is I just give it away, give you everything you need to get started. And then from there, I work with a couple mentoring students every single month to give them the one-on-one help, take them by the hand if they need it. So let's go back to this list now of what you're going to need if you're going to hit the road. Okay. So first off, obviously some sort of camera, smartphone, digital camera, Polaroid camera, sketchbook, whatever you need to document these properties. All right. Obviously, next thing, a pen and paper, depending on how you want to go. I love this thing. It's called a Remarkable. It's the closest tablet to pen and paper. It works really good. But you could be old school or new school or whatever school taking notes. You want to go ahead and print out the property information sheets that we have here in our book. Let's see. We have the property information sheets for researching the properties. Fill that out. Property evaluation form is in the book. So you want to fill that out for every property that you're going to visit. From there, it could also help to have a drone or something like that. You don't want to be super creepy, right? I'd always call it like a drive-by where, if there's people in the house, don't just stop and take pictures like a creeper. You got to drive by, just be casual, drive by, shoot the camera. And if you see people, if you're in a questionable neighborhood or something, you just got to drive like you're the mayor. You got to drive like you're the mayor of the neighborhood. Cruise slow, window down. You see somebody, smile, wave like you've known them all your life. And they're going to look at you. They're going to wave back. And they're going to be like, do I know that guy? Where do I know that guy from? I don't know. But they wave back, disarms them completely. Okay. So that's definitely one thing I learned back in the day, very early on, is to just be chill. Remember, you can also have a chance at scooping these things up pre-auction if you have the courage and you want to maybe talk to somebody in the property. Maybe it's a renter, or if it's vacant, you can talk to the neighbor. I would say maybe 5-10% of our properties will scoop up before the auction, just talking to the homeowner, because sometimes they don't even know, or they're going to let it go to the let it go to the auction. And at that point, if they're going to let it go to the auction, then you can make a deal with them beforehand, and sometimes even get a better deal by scooping it up before the auction. So we call those pre-auction. All right. Now, next thing you're going to need is some sort of GPS. You want a GPS that can like prioritize all of the addresses so that it gives you a good route. So like MapQuest, I think, is free. It will allow you to do that. Or if it's just a couple, just use, good old cell phone. Back in the day, we'd have to use maps, and it was super annoying, very tedious, very cumbersome in that regard. And then Microsoft Streets and Trips came out, changed the game. But then sometimes you'd rent a car and the cigarette lighter wouldn't work, and you'd just be very annoyed and lose hours and hours of your time. Guys, thanks for hopping on our stream this Friday evening. Some people probably out partying, but we're here. We're getting it done. It's the name of the game. Bring a flashlight, a measuring tape, some safety gear. You can bring like a vest with some colors on it if you want. Bring your rehab calculator sheet, which is also in here, to be able to calculate the amount of rehab that possibly that property is going to need. Okay. You can bring some binoculars, but definitely don't be that guy. You know what I mean? Just cruising through the neighborhood, binoculars out. That'd definitely be a little bit creepy. So these are some basic things. Bring bug spray, sunscreen, bring a hat. That sort of stuff. Bring some bug bite stuff in case you get bit by a bug. All that, whatever you need. Bring snacks. It's fun hitting the road. Now, if you're not going to go out in person, then it's important for you to find somebody who is on the ground, who can take pictures of the property, and from there send them back to you so that you can bid. It used to be a big golden rule to not, you never bid on a property without seeing it. However, now with online auctions, this solves a lot of those problems, because you don't have to trust somebody with your cash to go and bid for you. You can go online and you can do it. Now, remember, the next thing we are going to do is we want to make sure that you're organized, right? So last week we created our tax deed area for tracking properties. So we're going to have Texas coming up. I should create this right here. Remember, this is Asana. It's a free tool you can use. I'll start one here for Texas right now, since that sale's coming up. And remember, every single county is going to have a tab. You want to stay organized. All right. Can't spell. Harris County. Okay, there we go. So tomorrow we're going to add some more into this. So make sure to tune in. As far as the time goes, I got to get my timing a little better. I don't have a consistent time, and it's been asked before, hey, what time are you going to come on? To be fair, we're going to get probably dialed in here a little more, but I do appreciate you guys hopping on, browsing YouTube. Let's go. Let's check out some tax deeds. But it's time. This week is a big week for your sales. And we're here on the page right now. I think you guys can still see it. Yes, you can. But being organized is absolutely key. If you're just willy-nilly about this, no offense if your name is Willy or Nilly, you're going to be unorganized, and you need to be sharp. You need to take this like serious, like a real business, and it will perform like a real business here for you. So that's the assignment right now. And what we're going to do over the weekend here, we're going to dive into some more properties. But what I want you to do for your homework tonight is get started, get the directory, find a county, okay, any county. We have these sales coming up in Texas and Georgia. Get started, find a county, get organized, set up your Asana, which is free, asana.com. Let's get organized. Let's start researching. And then you can bring me some questions and stuff like that, and I can get into it. Quick question here. how do I foresee the Tyler versus Hempsey affecting the industry? I believe that's the lawsuit. Basically, this lady, what ended up happening in that situation, as far as remember, is there was a property, this lady lost it at the tax sale, and there was a huge amount of overages. So let's say your house is worth 100, opening bids 5 grand, it sells for 80,000. You were entitled to that money, and all of this money, I don't think she claimed. So there was some sort of suit in that regard, but it won't affect the tax lien or deed business in any way whatsoever. Unless the government decides to stop charging property taxes and wanting that money, which we all know how that's going to go. So on that note, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. You have your homework. Let's do it. Make sure to grab this below in the more info link. You can go grab this. And then if you guys want some mentoring and stuff before the auction, you can click the more info button as well. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up if you want some, or just hit the thumbs up if you like it. And make sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow.